Let me just say, before covering the traction force, that a popular method for implementing braking in a car game is to use a braking force. With such an implementation, when the car is braking, the net longitudinal force is calculated differently. The traction force is replaced with a braking force, FB, which is oriented in the same direction as the drag and rolling resistance forces, and therefore acts to slow the car down. Now in GI racing, I don't implement braking in this way, and instead implement braking as a torque concept, and I will discuss how I do that in a moment. For now though, I would like to investigate just a little further the idea of implementing braking as a resistance force, as it too is a popular choice that you may encounter on your travels. In such cases, F-long would be calculated as shown in equation 2. A simple model for braking force is shown in equation 3, where CB is simply a constant used to describe the maximum braking force magnitude in newtons that you intend to model. U is a unit length vector in the direction the car is heading, and T is a 0 to 1 range value used to describe the severity at which the braking pedal is being pressed. In GI racing, throttle axis values that are less than 0 are interpreted as braking, and therefore the absolute value of a negative throttle axis read would be used for T in this instance. Notice again the sign is negated so that this force acts against the direction in which the car is travelling. The potential maximum magnitude of the brake force in newtons, CB, can be found really just by testing, and of course raising this value would give your brakes more maximum stopping power. Now you must make sure when using this simple braking model that you do not apply more braking force than is necessary to actually stop the car, by doing a test much like we did when we applied our rolling resistance force. Applying a brake force to a car that is not moving, for example, would move it backwards. That's not of course how cars work in the real world. Like I said though, this isn't how I implement braking in GI racing, which I'm going to discuss a little later, but this technique is of course valid. Assuming we're not braking, however, the traction force completely replaces the braking force while computing our longitudinal force vector. Now, the traction force is actually the force of the surface of the road pushing against the drive wheels, and thus is the force that propels our car forward. But in order to find that, we've got to first find the drive force. Now, the drive force is the force that is exerted by the tyres as they turn on the road surface. It's pointing towards the rear of the car. Now, in order to find the drive force, we're going to need to factor in the engine torque being generated at the current RPM, the current gear ratio, the differential ratio, the transmission efficiency, and also the radius of the drive wheels. So let's start at the very beginning, because as a very famous Austrian governess once sang, that is a very good place to start.